Are you getting tired of submitting your claims to the VA only to get denied or not to get the proper rating that you know that you deserve? Today I'm going to be sharing with you some key elements of the process in order to best secure your efforts of getting the proper rating and the proper outcome that you expect. This is the exact same process that I use to be successful in my very own claim. Please seek the proper qualified advice before making any decisions. It's well known and well documented that the VA is definitely moving away from subjective-based claims and subjective-based evidence and more to objective-based evidence. Subjective evidence is evidence that's not verifiable or it's not proven through some sort of diagnostic test, where objective evidence is evidence that is proved through medical records, diagnostic tests, or any other things that can be verified and proved. And we're seeing this in some of the proposed changes to the 38 CFR Part 4 Schedule of Ratings. An example of that would be tinnitus, where tinnitus will soon be required to be associated with some sort of underlying condition, for example, hearing loss, in order for it to be able to be claimed. Where currently you can have tinnitus and have a standalone disability rating associated with just that condition by itself. The VA is quickly moving away from this and more to the objective aspect of verifying conditions. So in order to be successful in obtaining the benefits that you have earned in your service to this country, it is imperative that you stop thinking like a patient and start thinking like a VA disability compensation rater to maximize your chances of being properly rated. And my evidence matrix will help you in that process. The first step in that evidence matrix is going to be 3 pillars that you are required to have in every claim in order to be successful. You must have a diagnosis, an in-service event, and a nexus tying the in-service event and the diagnosis together. The diagnosis must be recent or current within the last 12-month period, and it must be chronic in nature. The in-service event has to be verifiable and credible and be the cause of your chronic diagnosed condition. Now, there are different ways that you can prove the in-service event. For example, if it's not in your service records, you can get buddy statements. You can look at official military press releases and other viable documents that you can source tying back to the event actually happening. Now, you will need to provide the date of the event, what unit that you was in when the event happened, and the details around the event and how the event, in your opinion, caused your diagnosed condition. The third element is going to be the nexus, and the nexus is simply the statement by a qualified medical professional that your condition is at least as likely as not linked to your in-service event and your military service. And to gain a better understanding of the test of the connection, you can reference 38 CFR 3.303 and also reference 38 CFR 8.22 to gain a better understanding of what a qualified physician means. Now, step 2 in this process is going to be making sure that you submit your file in as complete of a condition as possible, organizing it for the VA rater for ease of use and for their convenience. Now, keep in mind, the rater may have 30 or 40 other files that they're working on at the same time you're working on your file. And the easier that you make it for them to review your file and to follow it logically to where it makes sense, the harder you make it for them to say no. Now, keep in mind, when a rater opens up your file, they're probably got 15 or 20 minutes that they're going to be focused on your file. So if they have to hunt for your evidence that ties this whole picture together, you've greatly put yourself in a disadvantage for the proper outcome, because it makes it very easy for them to overlook something that is extremely important. So with every claim condition, the first thing you want to have is create a cover sheet that lists, for example, the following information. The first thing would be the summation of the claim condition. You want to have the diagnosis referenced on this cover sheet. Along with the diagnosis, reference the page number and the date of the diagnosis and where it is within the supporting documents. The cover letter will show the in-service event that caused the condition and be as specific as possible and paint the best picture that you can of the in-service event. And any type of supporting documents that you have to verify the in-service event, make sure that you reference that as well. And then you will also want to make sure that you have your Nexus referenced on the cover sheet. And I would recommend that you reference the document and then also reference the physician providing this Nexus letter. So in simple terms, this is how it would look. You'd have a cover sheet. On that cover sheet, you're going to have a summation of the claim condition. You're going to have your diagnosis with page numbers, dates, and reference to the document. You're going to list your in-service event with as much detail as possible surrounding that event, and then reference to any supporting documents verifying that event. And then also the nexus that is saying that it is at least as likely as not that your diagnosed condition is tied to your in-service event and your military service. And also keep in mind, under the M21-1, Part 4, Subpart I, Chapter 1, the VA does have a duty to assist, which means they should, by nature, go and look through and find all this information. But what my matrix does is it puts it out there front and center that makes it extremely easy for them to understand it, to reference the supporting documents, and come to the conclusion of the proper outcome and proper rating. This makes it much harder for them to say no and much easier for them to say yes on your claim. Step 3, as you're putting together your claim submission, and it's very important that when you get your medical evidence and your medical records, that you review through them and make sure that your diagnosis and your doctor's notes are properly referencing the appropriate language that's utilized in the 38 CFR Part 4 Schedule of Ratings, and make sure that they are using the language associated with the proper disability level within those Schedule of Ratings. The VA does not think outside of the box. They're looking for specific terminology, specific symptoms, and they're looking within that 38 CFR Part 4 Schedule of Ratings under your diagnosed condition to determine what they believe that your level of disability to be. I can't stress it enough how important it is to make sure that this language is matching up, because that is the single most important way that they determine if you meet the conditions and at what level you should be rated. And once you have this done for all the conditions that you are applying for direct connection, this is also a good time to consider any type of secondary conditions that could be associated with the direct linked conditions. An example of this could be you're on medication, which is causing weight gain, and that weight gain is causing knee problems. So a secondary condition under that hypothetical example could be for a knee disability. Properly understanding the conditions that you are diagnosed for direct connection, and then understanding the secondary conditions associated with them, gives you the ability to possibly get these connected to the direct connected conditions, and thereby helping you to maintain a higher overall rating. So keep in mind, if you're not organizing your evidence and submitting it in a way that paints the picture of what your condition is and how it all logically ties together to your military service by the in-service event being backed up and supported by a nexus from a qualified medical professional, you're making it extremely hard for you to get rated and to get rated properly. So if you find this information helpful, please subscribe to my channel, because I will be coming out soon with a Phase 3 video that's going to dive deeper into the C&P exam and what to expect after this part in the process. Thanks for watching. I'm Mike, and I will see you in the next video.